Welcome back. So we've been talking about the Fast Fourier Transform and how you can use this to compute the Fourier transform on vectors of data. And you can use this to denoise data, analyze data, also to approximate the derivatives of data numerically. And today we're going to talk about how to use the FFT to solve partial differential equations. FFT for PDEs. Okay, and we're going to do this numerically. And so what I'm going to walk through here are a couple of examples: the heat equation, the one-way wave equation, and Berger's equation. And we're going to see how we can code up and simulate these partial differential equations using the Fast Fourier transform to approximate the derivatives. Okay, so we're going to start with the heat equation. And I just want to remind you, the heat equation is UT equals alpha squared uxx. This is the one-dimensional heat equation where U is a temperature, T is time, and X is space. So maybe I'll write that out. U is a function of X and T, and I'll just label these. This is my temperature. X is space, a spatial variable, and T is time. And what we're going to do is we're going to Fourier transform this. So we're going to take the FFT, and we're going to get some U hat of now kappa and time. So this is still a function of time, but now kappa is a spatial frequency, or a wave number. Sometimes I call this omega, sometimes I call it kappa, but I try to remember to use kappa when I'm doing the Fourier transform with respect to x. So here we're Fourier transforming the x variable space, and instead we're replacing x with these spatial wave numbers kappa. Okay, and the key observation here is that if I have derivatives like ux or uxx, then when we Fourier transform these, what we get is this ux derivative becomes the complex number I times kappa times u hat. If I take another derivative, that's just I squared kappa squared u hat, which is minus kappa squared u hat. So it's easy to compute derivatives in space, in this case, just by Fourier transforming and multiplying by kappa or kappa squared. Okay. Now we've already seen this before, but when we do this with the fast Fourier transform, now this u hat is a vector of Fourier coefficients. U would be a vector of data at each spatial location, and u hat is a vector of Fourier coefficients. And kappa squared are vectors of frequencies. So now what we get is something like minus kappa 1 squared u hat 1, the first component of u hat, kappa 2 squared u2 hat, and so on and so forth down to kappa n squared un hat, the nth component. So this is, again, a vector of the product of kappa squared times u hat. And once you take this vector and inverse Fourier transform, you would recover, in this case, the second derivative of u. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to use this kind of formulation to approximate first and second derivatives, and we're going to use that to solve this PDE in MATLAB using ODE 45, and we'll use ODE int in Python. Okay, so we'll solve it in MATLAB and in Python. And here, I'm just going to Fourier transform the equations, and what we get is u hat. This is still a function of time, so I can still take its time derivative. So u hat derivative equals minus alpha squared kappa squared u hat. Okay, and the thing to remember here is that u hat is a function of kappa and time. So for every single kappa, there's a discrete set of n kappas. For each of these kappas, this is just an ordinary differential equation in u hat at that particular kappa. Okay, this is just an ordinary differential equation, u hat dot equals some constant times u hat, and we know the solution of that. It's e to the lambda t, where this is lambda, and so we can solve this this differential equation using ODE 45, or we could even do this analytically. And so that's going to be really useful. Okay, so this is essentially a decoupled, so that's also really nice, is that for every kappa, this is a single one-dimensional ODE. So I get n ODEs, so I have n decoupled ODEs, one for each of these kappas, okay? So for each of these kappa j's, let's say, I have one ordinary differential equation I have to solve. Okay, good. So what we're going to do is we're going to code this up, and we're going to simulate this essentially using just a regular ODE solver, using the Fast Fourier Transform to approximate the derivative. And then we're going to try this out for the one-way wave equation and also for Berger's equation. Okay, so let's start that out. All right, so here is the FFT solution to the heat equation in Python, okay? And I'm going to point out that the majority of this code is actually initializing the domain and the problem. It's actually really simple to simulate this, and then a lot of it is for plotting. So I'll just walk you through this whole code here. The first thing we're going to do is we're defining the domain that we're going to solve this PDE over, and I should point out that we are going to simulate an initial temperature distribution in this top hat, like before, where it starts out at 0 temperature, it goes up to 1, and then back down to 0. And we know that if we evolve this in time, what's going to happen is that the high frequency corners are going to diffuse first. We're going to get kind of this rapid diffusion of the corners, and then as time goes on, you're going to get this kind of Gaussian diffusion of this solution. So that's what we expect from the analytic solution. Here we're going to code it up using the Fast Fourier Transform. Okay, so our domain is a domain of length 100 that goes from -50 to 50, so -50 to 50. We're going to have 1,000 data points in that domain, so that'll set up a particular delta x. Here, I'm going to define my kappa vector. So this vector of frequencies in kappa from low frequency to high frequency is all stacked into this kappa vector. And this is actually kind of nice. In MATLAB, this would be kind of 2 lines of code. In Python, you just use this numpy.fft.fftfreq, and it'll give you this kappa vector. Okay, and then we're going to create our initial conditions here. So we have an initial condition that looks like this top hat function, and we're going to Fourier transform that initial condition to get u naught hat. Okay, so remember, the whole game that we're playing here is that we're taking our PDE, we're going to take our initial condition, we're going to Fourier transform everything, and we're going to simulate the system in the Fourier transform domain. So we're going to start with u hat naught, our initial condition's Fourier coefficients, and we're going to integrate that in time using an ODE integrator, some Runge-Kutz integrator, and we're going to get a time evolution of u hat. And then we can inverse Fourier transform and find what our original temperature distribution was in both space and in time. Okay, so here we're just taking our initial condition and Fourier transforming it. Okay, good. Here's a little line to handle kind of complex numbers. But this is the key point here, is that we're going to take this right-hand side function that is the right-hand side of our vector field in u hat, and we're going to simulate that using our ODE integrator. Okay, so I'm going to walk you through. These lines are kind of where all of the magic happens. I'm going to walk you through this. So here what we have is we're using ODE int, so we're integrating an ODE, a system of ordinary differential equations, in u hat. So u hat is the state vector, and we're integrating that state vector forward in time according to this vector field in RHS heat, the right-hand side of the heat equation. And so that's literally these terms right here are in that function RHS heat, and we define it kind of in our notebook right here. Okay, and so RHS heat takes in a u hat vector, a time, a kappa, and an alpha. Okay, so at an instant of time, we take that state vector u hat, we multiply it by kappa squared, by alpha squared, and by -1. And so that's what you're going to see here, is that we're first computing our derivative d u hat. This is the second derivative of u hat, is minus alpha squared times the second power of kappa. So this kappa vector, we're squaring each element, and we're multiplying it by our u hat vector. So this is going to return a vector like this: kappa 1 squared, u1 hat, kappa 2 squared, u2 hat, and so on. All of that times minus alpha squared. Okay, so my right-hand side function is literally just computing this right-hand side of this ODE for every u hat given kappa and alpha. And you can kind of work through what the other lines are doing. They're just managing this, the fact that this is a complex quantity that we're integrating. So now we take our vector field and right-hand side heat. We lock in the arguments kappa and alpha because this is only expecting the right-hand side to be a function of time and the state vector. So we lock in kappa and alpha here. Then we give it our initial condition, and we give it our vector of times that we want to integrate. So really all of the kind of guts of what's happening computationally are happening in this ODE int line right here, that the whole system is being integrated in that one line. Everything else was initialization. And then what we're going to do is for each of these u hats at each instant in time, we're going to inverse Fourier transform to get back the original temperature in space at that instant in time, and then we're going to plot stuff. So that's all that this is doing, is simulating and then plotting. And I like plotting this as a waterfall. That's kind of nice. So here is a waterfall plot showing this is our spatial variable down here evolving in time. And the height of this is the temperature distribution in space and in time. Okay, so what you can see is that you start off with this rectangular sharp square wave, and then very, very rapidly the corners diffuse. That's the first thing that happens. And then you get this kind of larger diffusion, and eventually it turns into this nice smooth Gaussian. And if I simulated this for longer, that Gaussian would eventually kind of start to spread out over the whole domain until eventually we were left with a constant. Okay, that's what we expect from the physics. It's nice that our FFT solution of this heat equation is consistent with what we analytically know should be true in this case. You can also plot it essentially as an image. Okay, so we can also do imshow to just plot this. So we have a function u as a function of space and time, so that's kind of an array of temperatures. We can also plot it as an image. And this is what it looks like. So here you can see, so kind of time is the vertical axis, space is the horizontal axis, and you can see that this thing starts off being very sharp and rectangular, and then it smooths out as time evolves. Okay, so it kind of becomes more and more gradual and smooth. It's just another way of plotting this. And I just want to point out, this is very consistent with the physics of the problem. Okay, so what the physics is saying is that when I Fourier transform the heat equation, the Fourier transform is actually an eigenvector coordinate system. So that's also key, is that these are eigenvectors. We're mapping into eigenvector coordinates, where now this system becomes decoupled and diagonal. For each kappa, I just have one ordinary differential equation. So I have n decoupled ODEs, and the particular lambda, the eigenvalue of that ODE, is minus alpha squared kappa squared. So for my low frequency Fourier modes, my low frequency sines and cosines, that has a relatively slow decay constant. Those are going to stick around for a long time. But my higher and higher frequency modes, my really, really high frequency sines and cosines, then kappa is really big. And so this is a fast decaying eigenvalue. And so those high wave numbers, those high frequency sines and cosines, are going to die out really, really quickly. And that's exactly what we see here. Corners, sharp corners, generally have a lot of high frequency Fourier content. And very rapidly, when you run that through the heat equation, those sharp corners die out because they have the largest decaying eigenvalues. Okay, so this is completely consistent with the physics of the Fourier transform being an eigenvector coordinate where these are the eigenvalues. Okay, so that's kind of nice. Okay, so in this example, what we have seen is that you can Fourier transform your PDE, you can solve your whole partial differential equation in the Fourier domain, you evolve it in time, but you evolve u hat instead of u, and that gets around computing all of these derivatives. You can instead just simulate this simple decoupled ODE, and then when you're done with that, you can inverse Fourier transform and recover your system in physical space. Okay, so in the next few lectures, we're going to solve a couple of different PDEs. We're going to solve the wave equation and the nonlinear Burgers equation, and we'll see how that looks. Okay, thank you.